Well,
Okay.
let's kick it off.
Okay, welcome everybody. I want to thank all of you for joining us this afternoon for the Department of Sociology and Public Administration information session. This is just a reminder that today's presentation will be recorded and posted on the Whitburn Center's website and YouTube channel. We ask that you please keep your mics on mute. We will have time for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. My name is Lisa Lewis, and I'm the Administrative Manager in the Whitburn Center for Governance and Policy Research. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about the Whitburn Center. The Whitburn Center was established in the fall of 2021 through a generous donation from our founding benefactor, UW alumni Jerry Whitburn. Our mission is to conduct nonpartisan, practical, applied research focused on evaluating and improving governance, professional management, and public policy in Wisconsin and beyond. Our vision is to build local government, nonprofit, and community capacity to promote the common good. To do this work, it requires bringing people together in spaces like this one to work together to share knowledge and equip public professionals with tools and resources to better understand the dynamic topic areas surrounding Wisconsin's public sector. And with that, I will turn things over to the chair of the Sociology Department, Paul Van Auken.
Thanks, Lisa. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Paul.
I'm going to share some of the key things to know about the sociology program within the brand new, as of this academic year, Department of Sociology and Public Administration. First off, we have a major, and I guess I would start by saying that our tagline for the sociology program is empowering imagination for life, which is a play on the kind of foundational concept in the field of sociology, sociological imagination. But what we're also trying to get across with that is that sociology is a field that not only changes the way you look at the world, but equips you to go on to be a better citizen for the rest of your life, and also prepares you well for a variety of jobs and activities beyond the undergrad level. Within our major, which has 33 credits, so there are lots of possibilities for students to do other programs in combination with the sociology major, double majors and other minors and so forth. Within the major, we have 3 optional emphases, and I'll mention these in part because it gives you a better idea if you're not sure what sociology is all about, some of the things that we study within sociology. So we have 3 optional emphases. You'll see them on the screen there: organization, community, environment. Let me just close my email so I don't get any more clonking noises going on here. Social control, deviance, and criminology, and then social diversity and equity. I'll talk a little bit more about a couple of those right now, because given the fact that we have a strong emphasis in environmental sociology, all of my upper level classes cross-list with environmental studies, and I was hired to be in both programs, for example. And we have another person that is Dr. Jeremiah Bohr, who is an environmental sociologist, and then others who have training, part of their training being in that area. Over time, we decided we should have a double major with environmental studies, which is a very strong program here at UWO, which is known for sustainability, and environmental studies has a lot to do with that. There was already a lot of overlap, so we said, why not create a streamlined double major with environmental studies, meaning that students can do both majors and not add more time to getting their bachelor's degree. We have the same thing with criminal justice, where there's a lot of overlap with that program as well. The current chair, for example, is literally a sociologist, and other people in that department have sociological training. So a few years ago, we decided to team up and create a streamlined double major, which is pretty powerful, especially for students that know they want to do both things early on. You can complete both majors and be done in 4 years theoretically and come out with both majors. I say theoretically, meaning it has to be planned out correctly, but it's relatively easy to do time-wise. So those are our majors that we offer at the moment. Minors include a regular sociology minor, which is 21 credits. Students within it can declare an emphasis in one of those same 3 areas that majors can, and some elect to do that. Otherwise, it's pretty wide open and designed to be something that can be easily added to a major in another field. And then we have a new minor that was recently created, which is called Health, Humanities, and Society. This one is interdisciplinary. As you'll see there, there are 11 different programs that have classes that count for this minor. And basically the point with this is to offer a program that focuses on health, but from beyond the biomedical, the traditional model of health. We believe there's a lot more to understand about health than simply that which comes from the biological realm. So this is an exciting minor that we manage, but like I said, and we do the advising for it. I literally do the advising for it. So if you're interested in that, you should contact me. And given that I'm the chair, if you're interested in any of this, I'd be happy to talk to you later about any of it, including the HHS minor. Next, we offer a 9-credit social equity and diversity certificate, which is very similar to the emphasis within the major and minor. This is designed to reach students that have very tight schedules, but we feel like everyone should have some sociology, and particularly in this area of social equity and diversity in this era that we're in, where this can help you make you stand out. So whether you're a business student or a nursing student, anybody should be able to complete this minor and certificate, and a lot of students do indeed do that. Within our program, we have newly added the FERM program, which stands for Fire and Emergency Response Management. And I'm going to let others talk about this because Sam Larson from our public administration side of the department is now the coordinator for that program. Very exciting thing that's in development is a new 4+1 MPA program. That's why there's an exclamation point after it, because we're super excited about it. We merged, like I said, into this new Department of Sociology and Public Administration after spending about a year working, planning it out, discussing it. It launched in the fall. And this will be the first endeavor that we're doing together, where we're creating something new as a new and more powerful unit. It's going through the approval process now, so it doesn't formally exist as yet, but right now, undergrad students can start taking, as long as they're approved, can start taking grad classes in the Masters of Public Administration program. What's going through the approval process is a new emphasis in sociology that will be called public administration, shockingly. And that can be majors or minors, because again, it'll be like these other emphases that I mentioned earlier. Both majors and minors can elect to do the optional emphasis. And so if people choose the public administration emphasis and they're approved as a grad level student, what it can do then is basically students can get their undergraduate degree and MPA, Masters of Public Administration, in 5 total years. And this has to be planned out, but we think it's very doable. And we've already started doing some advising with students that are interested in starting it next year, whether the program's fully in place or not, which we believe it will be. So that's really exciting. And we think is something that's going to offer a great opportunity for students here at UWO, and also be something that sets us apart in the field, in the state, and in the field of public administration, to have this accelerated program. Okay, and I'll just briefly, you can click through all these qualifications. These are the kind of things that we expect our students to leave the program having developed, acquired, furthered, gotten better at. Critical thinking and problem solving skills, people skills, competence in conducting research and analyzing data. There's quite a few opportunities built into the program to do that. Global perspective and ability to work with people of diverse backgrounds. Again, something that's hugely important. Employers of all sorts want to see that. Research too. All kinds of doors can open with that, whether it's in private or public sector, nonprofit. People want to hire people that are literate with data, and that's something you should get out of this program. Understanding what's going on around us, because we do a lot of community-based learning. So what are the resources that are out there, and how do I tap into that? Leadership and teamwork skills. Maybe the thing that sets sociology students apart from other fields the most, I would say, is the ability to see the big picture, to identify root causes and suggest strategies to address them. We know that this is true because we hear from alums that tell us, hey, I got a job, even though I didn't have I wasn't as qualified as some other people, because I was able to explain the big picture and discuss the importance of identifying root causes to really try to solve problems. So a lot of our grads go into government and nonprofit leadership, which helps to explain why this merger with public administration makes so much sense for us. So just to give you a couple examples, we've got alums that, for example, the executive director of Appleton Downtown Inc. is a graduate of our program. The deputy commissioner for policy, innovation and engagement at the City of Milwaukee Health Department is a graduate of our program. We have an epidemiologist for the Ho-Chunk Nation that's a graduate of our program. Students, alums tend to go into educational settings as well. So we have a principal of an alternative high school in Madison as a notable alum. My daughter's high school counselor right now is a graduate of our program. The associate dean in the nursing school here, who has a PhD in sociology and is a registered nurse, she's a graduate of our program. People go on to do all kinds of community organizing endeavors. Something exciting that we're working on that is being led partly by me and a couple other colleagues here at UWO is to create our own version of an urban ecology center, which is based in Milwaukee. We're calling it for the moment Urban Ecology Oshkosh. That includes a current student who's on the steering committee, which is pretty awesome. And then a number of students, use sociology as a launch pad going on to grad school. And again, we think this is going to be an even bigger part of what happens in the future with our 4+1 program. But just an example, someone that worked on the urban ecology Oshkosh project with us recently got her master's in sustainable peacemaking from UW Milwaukee. And then a big thing is just being adaptable, having this broad understanding of what's going on and broad skill set makes sociology alums adaptable to a variety of settings. Okay, I've done enough talking, but I can't see who's here, but I'm hoping that one current student and an alum are here to share some of their experiences in our program. Nolan, are you here? And Jules, are you here? Whoever wants to go first, assuming that you are, can go ahead.
I'm here. I believe Jules is as well. So Jules, if you want to go first, you can. Otherwise, I will.
Nolan, you can go first. You have a time crunch.
All right. So yeah, as Paul said, I am a current student in the UWO sociology program, and I mean, for me, just the overall big draw of the sociology program was just I really don't know how to put it into words because the best way for me to describe it would be I was a education major prior to becoming a sociology major, and there was no communication between other majors. Everyone stuck to themselves. They all had their own things. There was no group, I guess identity that the only thing we all had in common was we were all education majors. In sociology, what I really love is we're still our own. We all are doing our own things, but we come together as a group and we hang out and we try to do stuff as part of our sociology club as well, and we're pushing for stuff like the day by day I can't remember that is what did it
Shelter.
what was that?
The day by day warming shelter.
Yes, that was what it was. So we're pushing to work with that, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that we try to look at in the community and say, all right, do we want to what can we do to make people aware of something that we think should be brought to the light, like last year's panel with the ex-incarcerated folks and their their solitary confinement cell that they had, and we brought to light the injustices of this and how it needs to be just more than just putting them in a cell by themselves, and that panel had a large turnout, and it's just stuff like that it's fun, it's great to do, and I really enjoy it, and that's probably the biggest draw for me, and the biggest part of the sociology program is we can come together and just say, hey, let's do this, and we get it done, and we do something fun like that.
Awesome. Thanks, Nolan. Jules, what about you?
Yeah. So for my own personal journey with the sociology program, I had switched from so many different majors before I found sociology. Um, I used to be a human services leadership major. I used to double major in Spanish. But then I was like, maybe I should do something with business. And so I switched to business, and I'm like, this is not what I want to do. And I really got hooked into sociology because of my Sociology 101 class, and it really enthralled me into this idea of helping people. And the biggest thing with the sociology program is that it really helps you build a skill set and the knowledge to be able to work with people, people who are minoritized, be able to figure out solutions for social issues, and also be able to use evidence-based and data-based information in order to create and make informed decisions, which is really, really important, especially with all the social issues that are happening right now. Um, I think one of the most memorable things about the program, though, is just the social connectedness within the program. The professors are extremely kind. They're very helpful. They don't necessarily see themselves as above students, which is great. So it helps students feel more, you know, feel more included. And I think that's really important, especially when it comes to college students that are coming from their hometowns and having to or wanting to feel like they have space somewhere. But with that, I did graduate with my sociology degree in December, and during my undergraduate experience, I was able to take advantage of opportunities doing undergraduate research, and all of my experiences were actually with the MPA professors like Dr. Sam Larson and Dr. Mike Ford. I'm actually doing a um, research project with Dr. Ford right now. When I was an undergrad, I was working with Dr. Sam Larson with the Go Transit program and researching the effectiveness of that with the schools and the students. And overall, it makes a lot of sense that these two programs are coming together. And I actually also have, yeah, Mike is saying a lot in the chat. But with all this experience and stuff, and all the my ability to enhance my skills through this program, my resume has, really advanced, and I've been able to connect with more people as well in the community and network, which is really, really important when it comes to after graduating, having that network and knowing people so that you can land jobs and get positions. And right now, I actually have an interview again with this other position. So I interviewed for another position at this nonprofit organization, and they called me 2.5 hours afterwards saying, like, we really want you to work here, but we think you could thrive in that other position. So I have a interview with them tomorrow about that. But yeah, overall, I'll stop talking. But overall, this program and these people in SPA have been very, very helpful with just overall success.
Well,
Thanks, Jules.
awesome.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
Nope, I was just saying thanks.
Yeah, well, thanks, Jules. I'll transition us over to the MPA stuff, but it's a great transition because of what Jules just had to say. I mean, that's a perfect story of what we're trying to accomplish and why we're so excited about this merger with the sociology department. We are taking a group of undergrads in a program that's focused on solving problems in our society, in the organizations that are active in our society, on connecting them with us, an MPA program that's interested in exactly the same thing. And we really think there's going to be a real clear pathway here from undergraduate education to a public or nonprofit sector career that is in demand. And we want our students to get all kinds of valuable experiences, but we also want them to make a living and get good jobs and influence their community. So it's all good stuff. So I'll be quick, and I'm going to turn it over to one of our successful MPA graduates to talk a little bit about this program. But for those who don't know, the MPA program at UW Oshkosh, excuse me, has been around since 1972. So it's very well established. Turning on my camera at Dr. Larson's request. We've been around since 1972, very well established, over 600 graduates that are working in Wisconsin and in other areas, primarily in the public, nonprofit, and healthcare management and emergency management space. We think we have a pretty unique program that's comprehensive and very interested in practice. Related to that, we have 4 different emphases. So when you come get your MPA, you get your core courses that are pretty consistent across MPA programs, things like research methods, budgeting, all the fun stuff, public policy analysis. But then you'll also have the opportunity to declare a specific emphasis, which ties into your future career goals. So we have the general public administration emphasis, which is what most of our students do, either people that are still figuring out what they want to do, or really focused on state and local government or federal government. Nonprofit management and leadership, as it sounds, is focused towards individuals that want a career in the nonprofit sector. Health agency administration, same deal, people that want to work in healthcare management. And then our fire and emergency administration and management, which has been a really exciting program tied to the program Dr. Larson will talk about in a few minutes. And that really has enabled us to get a lot of folks that come from the fire service and the emergency service, and they have ambitions to be leaders in their organizations. And we kind of bring some of those leadership skills, other hard skills like budgeting and financial management, and tie it to individuals with subject area expertise. Anyways, good stuff all around. So this sounds biased. I'm horribly biased, but I do think we have quality faculty, flexible delivery, successful graduates. So we have 3 core faculty members, and I think what makes our faculty unique in the MPA program is that all of us are very active in the practitioner world as well. Our students are primarily mid-career or early career individuals, and public administration is an applied field where we're trying to train leaders for the public and nonprofit sectors. So it makes sense that those of us that are teaching should bring some practical experience and continue to be actively involved. That said, we're no slouch on the research side either. So I think it's a nice mix of research, but also more academic research, but also practical application of that research. Our program is currently offered 100% online, asynchronous, so we really wanted to be flexible. We do our best within our courses to tailor things towards individuals' career goals. Part of that work, Dr. Larson set up a really successful mentorship program for our new students, where new students taking our Introduction to Public Admin course have the opportunity to be connected to a graduate or a friend of our program that's basically doing the job they want to do. So you want to be a city manager? Well, we're going to hook you up with a city manager right when you get through the door. Very exciting thing. Our graduates are our best recruitment tool, and I think our greatest success and the most fulfilling part of this job. Right now, we have over 25 graduates that are serving as either city managers or village administrators in Wisconsin municipalities. But that just scratches the surface. I always say that the real exciting stuff is the people that are still on the bench. In other words, people that are still developing, that may be department head or new within a public or nonprofit organization, but continue to move up. And that's to say nothing of all the individuals working in healthcare management, emergency management, and all kinds of roles in the public and nonprofit sectors. So again, really proud of the influence that our graduates have on this state. I'll be really quick about our curriculum, since I've already said most of this. But the big question you probably want to know is, how long is this going to take? Well, yes, if you're doing the 4+1 program with sociology, it's quick. You have the ability to finish in up to 1 year, or as quick as 1 year. But for individuals that are coming just straight into this and aren't doing the 4+1, generally takes 2 to 3 years for completion. A lot of that is dependent on how aggressive you want to be, whether you're working full time what your personal life allows for. And you'll find in our program, we have an incredibly diverse student body, people at different phases of their career, different phases of their life, different life experience. So there's a lot of different paths people take. Admissions. Our preferred admission deadline is March 1st for the fall. I know that's already passed, but we still do have spaces, and we continue to accept individuals even into the summer, as long as we have room for them in our courses. And there's also a preferred deadline for spring admissions, because we do admit students for both the fall and spring semester. But enough about me. I want to turn it over to Mason Becker, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can see you talking, Mason. But he has agreed to tell us a little bit about his experience in the MPA program and what he's up to now. So I'll turn it over to you, Mason.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Ford, and thanks everybody for having me here today. I just finished and graduated in December of 2023. So I'm a pretty recent graduate from the program. And I definitely took a non-traditional path to get to the MPA program. I wasn't somebody who grew up thinking that he wanted to work in government or anything like that. My undergrad at UW Whitewater more than 20 years ago was in speech communications, and I had a career path where I did radio advertising sales for a while, and then I did some retail, and then was involved with a couple family businesses for quite a long time. One of those was a restaurant business, and kind of during that same time frame in my adult life, around 2015, I had never really paid attention to local government. I'm from Fort Atkinson, which is a small community of about 12,000 people between Madison and Milwaukee. And I apologize, I don't know how to turn on my camera, so you just get to see a still picture there. I became interested in some local issues that were going on around that time frame, and started speaking up. And eventually some people asked me, hey, would you ever think of running for city council? And I said, well, hey, I'll take a stab at it. And I was fortunate. I was elected in spring of 2015, and I'm still serving on the Fort Atkinson City Council today. I'm now in my 5th term. And it was during that time frame, becoming familiar with how local government operated, that I really came to believe that local government is the model. It's not divided along political parties for the most part. We don't worry about, personal ideology for the most part. My experience has been we come together and we form consensus and we get things done for our community. And I really came to embrace that. Few years later, I was asked to run for state assembly in 2020. I did do that, and let me tell you, 2020 was not a fun year to run in a partisan election. I was very, very highly charged, and we had COVID and everything else. And I ran in a heavily gerrymandered district. I did not win, and I'm not embarrassed by that. But after that, I kind of frankly sat around for a little bit. I was still involved with the family business, and I knew that being in the restaurant industry was not what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So started kind of looking around, and then my wife kind of nudged me to look into going back to school. And I was definitely intimidated by that. I hadn't been in school in a formal setting in 20 years by that point. And I did a call, I remember, with Dr. Anna Filipova, and she really laid it out in a really easy to understand manner, explained how the courses would work and what the schedule would be like. And the other thing, frankly, I would not have been able to attend in-person classes. I'm married, I have 2 young kids, obviously involved with a family business, still serving on the Fort Atkinson City Council, also involved with my local Lions Club, and I in-person classes wouldn't have happened. So being 100% online, the UW Oshkosh program worked for me, and I found I was able to do the coursework working around my own schedule. I enjoyed the discussion boards. I enjoyed the interaction with my classmates, and I also found the professors to be very responsive when I had a question or I didn't understand something. Before I graduated in 2022, I really knew it was time for me to take the next step in my career. And even though I had not graduated yet, I started looking for a new position, and an economic development position opened up in the city of Watertown, which is about 20 minutes to the north of me. Um, and I had a little bit of a background in that. I had helped start an economic development commission in Fort Atkinson during my first term on the council. And it probably didn't hurt that the mayor of Watertown, Emily McFarland, is also a graduate of the UWO MPA program. I don't think it was the deciding factor, but it definitely didn't hurt. So I was hired and started there right after Thanksgiving in 22. And I've been there now for a year and a half. And even though I already had some of the local government background and some of the community and economic development background, what I learned in the MPA program absolutely has helped me take that next step in my career. So I really enjoyed it, and frankly, my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner. So I hope that helps. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer those or connect with you at a later time.
Oh, thank you so much, Mason. That's great. And we'll have some time built in at the end if anybody does have Q&A for any of us. But yeah, we're very, very proud of the work Mason's doing, even though he made the big mistake of running for public office. But I'm of the belief that we need more people even serving in local office that actually understand how government works and how organizations work. So it's interesting. We have several on the ballot coming up next, or was it a couple weeks from now in the spring election throughout the state of Wisconsin, several students and graduates running, which is pretty cool. But anyways, enough about how awesome our graduates are. Let's talk about how awesome one of our faculty members here that's about to talk is, and the new program that she is coordinating. Not a new program, but it's new to us. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Sam Larson.
Great. Thanks, Mike. And thank you, Mason, for coming back and giving us a little plug. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Larson. And as Dr. Ford just mentioned, I am an associate professor in the Masters of Public Administration program, but also recently was appointed as the program coordinator for the Fire and Emergency Response Management program. And within this role, I'm going to talk to you a little bit today, give you kind of an overview. I had also asked one of our alumni, who's an assistant fire chief in Green Bay, Rob Goplin, to come and talk to you all today. Rob emailed me on Monday and said he was just asked to lead security for the NFL draft at Lambeau Field today. So that's his excuse. So I told him that was a pretty good one. But we're lucky to have Ann Kunkel-Jones with us today, who's the advisor for the program. So a little bit later, Ann will talk to you a bit more about the students she's been talking with and kind of give some student perspectives through the advising space. Also, Frida is joining us, Frida the cat, and she might pipe in here too. Mike, can you go? Well, you can hold here, but I just wanted to, before we jump in too quickly, wanted to just tell you really quickly about my journey, because thinking through our new department, our SPA department, so I was a first-gen college student who got a bachelor's degree in social science with an emphasis in sociology. I had no idea what I was going to do with it, but I had a lot of opportunities and went out into the world. And the first job that I landed after graduation was at a performing arts school that also had an environmental arts component to it. So I worked there for several years. And then I loved sociology so much that I went back and got a master's of sociology degree. And after completing that degree, I worked in the nonprofit fund development space and did fundraising and grant writing and trainings on grant writing for nonprofits throughout rural Colorado. And then I decided I want to go back to school and get a PhD. And I thought about getting a PhD in sociology, but I thought, you know what? I really love kind of being at the grassroots level. I love social movements. I love social change, but I'd love to learn more about policy. So at the high level, like, how do policy systems work? And so I decided instead to get my PhD and bring my sociological background with me, but get my PhD in what was called public affairs, but it's actually a public administration PhD. And throughout all of that time frame as well, I worked in many other government and nonprofit organizations. I worked with the Fish and Wildlife Service. I worked with the U.S. Forest Service. I worked with the U.S. Department of Labor. I was active on a number of city advisory committees when I was in Colorado. I worked with FEMA and conducted research with FEMA. And so kind of have this background also in the emergency management space. So I am thrilled that we have all come together, and I'm excited that you all are joining us, and excited to tell you a little bit more about the FERM program, which we inherited from the Online and Continuing Education Division, and they spent a number of years making this program very strong. So there is your cue, Mike, to go to the next slide for me. So this program is nationally ranked and recognized. So it's accredited by the International Fire Service Accreditation Congress. The coursework is all aligned with what's called the Fire and Emergency Services Higher Education, essentially this association that has set standards. It's also been named to a few different entities have named it one of the most affordable online fire science degrees, number 11 by EduRef, and then one of the best online emergency management degrees, so came in at number 15 in that regard. So we're really proud of that, and really proud to let people know more about this program. So next slide, Mike. So this is also, like the MPA program, 100% online, and all of the courses are accelerated, which essentially means most are 7-week courses, but the final capstone is a 14-week course. There's a bachelor's degree. It's called a Bachelor's of Applied Studies degree. But I think one thing folks may not be familiar with is that we also have 2 certificate options in both emergency services management and fire services management. So I'll talk about that in a second. Up to 45 transfer credits can be awarded for someone who has an applied associate's degree coming in. So a lot of our students do have associate's degrees. And then full-time students who are taking a full-time load with 60+ transfer credits can actually earn a bachelor's degree in 2 years. The photo here on the right just gives you a sense if you're coming in at the kind of freshman level without an associate's degree, the types of courses that are required through our university studies program. And then if you go to the next slide, Mike, these are the core courses of the program. So all students, regardless of whether or not they'll go the fire services route or the emergency services route, will take these classes. And you'll see that they're kind of in a bit wider variety. So some of the courses are in what's actually now called professional studies. That's listed as lib studies here. So, courses that are focused on really leadership skills, critical thinking and writing, introduction to leadership. And then there's also public administration courses here because, as Mike has kind of talked through, there's a lot of overlap with that program. So intro to public administration, public personnel administration, learning how to manage people, learning how to manage conflict, which comes up a lot. There's also a couple of options. So you can pick one over on the right-hand side of a couple of courses. So government and economy and budgeting for managers really are kind of both focused on budgeting skills. And then these other 2 courses, conflict resolution for emergency services and mentoring for emergency services personnel. Again, it kind of gives some flexibility for people who might be interested in one or the other of those courses. You can go to the next slide, Mike. And then depending on which emphasis a prospective student chooses from. So like I mentioned, we have a fire services management emphasis and emergency services management emphasis. And then there are 5 additional kind of elective courses that you would take depending on what your area of interest is. And, fire services folks on that side tend to work in, city level fire departments, leading those organizations. Emergency services is more focused on people who may work in like city or county emergency management departments in that space. And again, you can kind of see here that there are similar courses, but again, more of a specialization in each area. And then the second thing I want to highlight here is that for students who aren't ready to do a bachelor's degree or aren't interested in getting a bachelor's degree, you can actually take these 5 courses in either emphasis for a certificate. So we have these 2 also organized as 15 credit certificates. If you have a bachelor's degree, or if you want to add a certificate on and you're earning a bachelor's degree, these are open to you. So that's a really nice option that we want to promote more, because I think not enough people really know about that one. Next slide, Mike. I wanted to give a sense, because I told Dr. Ford to turn his camera on, because I wish we would have seen everyone's faces, just to give you a sense of all the many faces that come together to make these programs possible. So this is not all, but a number of people who teach or are staff in and support the FERM program, and also the Fire and Emergency Administration Management emphasis in our MPA program. And so what you'll see is, you know, some of the folks here work full time. Myself, Dr. Ford, Dr. Anna Filipova, as faculty at UW Oshkosh, but we all kind of, as Mike mentioned, bring practitioner experience. And a number of the other instructors are folks that have advanced degrees, but also have many, many, many years of experience in these areas. So Shell Delisle up top is a recruitment and training officer with Response Systems, which is a nonprofit. Mike Stanley, chief of the Oshkosh Fire Department, and a number of other folks actually who work beyond Wisconsin. So Paul France is a senior public safety director in the Texas Department of Public Safety. Stephen Peggs used to work up in Green Bay, but has since moved to Dallas and is the emergency management coordinator there in the Dallas Police Department. And then Tyson Novinska is a lieutenant with the City of West Allis Fire Department. So these folks have, you know, a lot of experience that they bring to the courses as well. And then right in the middle, we have Ann Kunkel-Jones, who's our advisor, who we're very excited to have, who's been with UWO for a long time, but just recently joined in helping support our FERM students. Next slide, Mike. The other thing I want to highlight here is that this program has really done a great job of bringing together community partners. And so students have a lot of connections that they can make based on this. So within the state of Wisconsin, there are several partner organizations in this space that have come to the table and are very aware of and are supportive of this program, from the Professional Firefighters of Wisconsin to the Wisconsin State Fighters Association, to the Wisconsin Society for Fire Service Instructors, a long list of folks that are very interested. I just got an email today from someone who wants to meet up and talk more about our program. And then there's also, like the MPA program, an advisory board for the FERM program. And the members of that represent a number of organizations, mostly locally, but also beyond the state. So we have people from the city of Oshkosh, Fond du Lac, Appleton, Green Bay, that are working within those organizations. Within the fire departments within those organizations. We have people who work in the public safety space from the Wisconsin Technical College system, and also Fox Valley Tech. And then again, people beyond the state in Texas Department of Public Safety as well. And this is something that just kind of, you know, moving forward, I'm hoping to build kind of a broader space within the advisory board member organizations to bring more national folks in as well. So that list is strong and hopefully growing here in the next year. All right, I won't go through this line by line, but just wanted to flash you some information about admissions and the application. So admissions requirements, I would just recommend going to the website that I list here, uwosh.edu/online/futures-students/admissions. Hopefully you can type that in, just admissions, and find it, but there's a lot of information there that you'll need. We also, as I mentioned before, kind of have applicants that come from 2 different sides. Often applicants with an applied associate's degree who, you know, if you have an approved regionally accredited associate's degree in a field that's related to fire and emergency response management, you can come in, transfer credits in, like I mentioned before. But we also are very open to other folks and experienced professionals, so people who have been working for at least 3 years who don't have an associate's degree, but 3 years of full-time experience, have other kind of technical qualifications such as a firefighter 1 or 2 or NEMT basic qualifications, also any kind of EMS or paramedic type certifications. And that's something you can always reach out to us and check with us on as well. And then also 2 letters of recommendation. So we kind of recommend that it would be, an immediate supervisor if you're a professional out in the field, or someone that's, been a supervisor in the past, and then a colleague that can be, emailed to admissions. How to learn more or how to apply. So you can go to uwosh.edu/apply to UWO for applications, but we also have, a lot of people that are here to give you more information and help talk through something that's a very big decision. It's a big decision to come and get a degree in any sense and at any time in life. And so I have a bit more information, a website you can go to, you can email admissions, you can call them, or meet with Anne, a FERM advisor, who can do a number of things, talk about transfer credits, answer questions about the program, talk about online learning, and then talk about the application. And that's something Anne can do, or I suppose I can do as well. So I think that that's the end of my slides. And Anne, are you still here? Are you available to jump on and share your perspective here as well?
I am here.
All
I'm
right.
still here. As Sam had said, I have worked at UW Oshkosh for almost 20 years now as an academic advisor in our general advising office. Worked with sociology department for all of those 20 years. So this is also a pretty natural expansion of my responsibilities to take on the FERM program also. One unique thing that has me really excited to be working with FERM students is I grew up with, my father was a volunteer firefighter for my whole life growing up. So I grew up under at least that umbrella where Monday nights were firefighting nights. Meetings and lots of extended things for families. So this is kind of my little toe dipping into this and being excited to support people in their field here. I've taken on working with the current FERM students since late December, and in meeting with them, it's been quite exciting. Students are very motivated. They are all, in my case, all working adults working in the field and have been encouraged to continue education. There are a few people who are working with smaller departments, so they don't have anybody directly connected that have gone through this program, but a lot of the students have a lot of support from their current departments, from alumni or advanced students. So lots of great information. And I typically I get assigned as an advisor once you've been accepted to UW Oshkosh and you're invited to make an initial transfer appointment with me. And then I do go over all kinds of things with transfer credits and how to proceed from there. But I welcome any questions people have, and I'm continually learning more as I'm learning more about the program. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Anne. Again, I put Anne on the spot a little bit this week since Rob couldn't join us, so I appreciate that. And I think I'll just close our section with that. I just started as the program coordinator maybe 4 weeks ago. So I'm also new to this program, but we're both very dedicated to any questions we don't know the answers to. We can always try to find for people, and are happy to help in any way that we can as people are thinking through this program as well. So I will end us there and turn it back to you, Mike.
I just said something really important, but nobody heard it. Sorry, I was muted there. Thank you, Dr. Larson, and thank you, Anne. Anne is, great to work with. I just got to know her this year. very happy she's involved in all this. So we're almost done, and we'll have some time for any questions from the audience, but I did want to talk a little bit here about some of the opportunities we have coming up for students at the Whitburn Center for Governance and Policy Research. So I know Lisa at the beginning talked a little bit about how the Whitburn Center is 100% externally funded. One of the big things that we've tried to do is use the funding that we are able to raise to provide opportunities for our students. So I can't help it, but I have to always mention when we have these arguments on campus or these debates about what research enhanced means, I'm always like, I can tell you exactly what it means. I can show you what it means. It's us involving our students in applied research projects that we're raising funds for, projects that are going to have a real world impact on the communities we serve, and also position our graduates to get the jobs they're qualified for and the jobs that, frankly, I think the state of Wisconsin needs them to have moving forward. I shouldn't say just Wisconsin. Now that we're online, we have a much broader portfolio of students and graduates. But some upcoming opportunities to put on your radar screen. We have in the past offered undergraduate research assistantships, and Jules, if she's still on this call, was one of the individuals who did this. But that's basically, it's a research job while you're a student that's paid. It's part-time. We try to be very flexible and work with our undergraduate students and help them gain experience in research and community engaged projects. The other program that we're excited about is our MPA Graduate Research Assistantship. So you see a couple of them in that photo there. That's in beautiful Springfield, Illinois. We're going to be hiring a research assistant in the fall. And what's really cool about that is it's for an MPA student, but it comes with full tuition remission. So it's a part-time job where you are paid, but also have 100% of your admission remissed. Is that a word? But you don't have to pay. We pay for you to get your degree. So please keep your eyes open because we will be posting that fairly soon by the end of this semester so that we can do the interview process and get somebody on board. And then finally, I mentioned it earlier, but we have our career mentorship and networking program that Dr. Larson designed, where we hook up our new MPA students with somebody working in the field. And I know it says there too, a large network of partners with internships, jobs, and more. On that front, I have been working with a few local municipal managers to try to create something a little more formal. And the idea here is that we will have clear descriptions of what these internships are. We'll be soliciting them from municipal managers in the area and posting them prior to the start of the semester so that students can apply for them and get class credit through the internship as well as get that valuable experience. So a lot going on here, and by virtue of coming here, you're going to be on our mailing list, whether you like it or not. You can always opt out of that after the fact, but we'll make sure to keep you all updated on these opportunities when they become posted. So last.
You're on mute, Mike. You just hit mute.
Look at that. See, I would have done that for like an hour if Dr. Larson wasn't involved here. So this is good. Last slide here, you see our websites are posted there. You can take a look at those. Obviously, you can just Google us too. We're easy enough to find. Our emails are there, Paul's, Sam's, and mine. And I think all of us are very responsive, and we're always happy to answer any questions that might come up. But we still have 7 minutes left here. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and encourage anyone that wants to raise their hand. We can give you permission to speak if you have a question, either for one of us or for one of our guests here that spoke. Also, if you put something in the chat, we're happy to answer it that way as well. Always happy to bumble through the last 7 minutes too as well. I do want to call attention, I'll put a link to this in the chat, that there is a new report that we just released today that was conducted by Dr. Larson, Dr. Matt Ritchie, who's an affiliate faculty, but also an assistant professor of criminal justice. And two, they're not graduates, but one was an MPA student at the time, now a graduate, and one was a criminal justice student at the time, but now a graduate. And well, let's Sam, you want to share with the group exactly what that report's about? And there, she put it in the
Sure. There's the link to it if anybody's interested. Well, and this is, I think, also maybe a good example, so timely of a report that we focused on assessing essentially social vulnerability and community resilience to disasters in 14 counties in East Central Wisconsin. And so there are a couple of components in here that we looked at. One, looking at socially vulnerable groups who there's a good deal of research out there that demonstrates that people who come from historically marginalized populations are more at risk when any kind of crisis comes up, whether it's a flood or COVID or a tornado or whatever it might be. So people who, have limited English proficiency, or people who, are living below the poverty line. And so we looked at essentially the degrees of social vulnerability, utilizing kind of federal level data sources, and then also degrees of resilience to those. And that was kind of the more technical, secondary data, pulling sources online. But we also went out and conducted focus groups in 4 counties with people on the ground. So emergency management professionals, people who are involved in designing and coordinating hazard mitigation plans, and had a really great time talking with them about, who are the most socially vulnerable folks in their counties, what they're doing to try to kind of reduce and mitigate the risk of people that come from those groups, and what they need to better serve those folks. And oftentimes the easy answer, which is not such an easy answer, is more funding, right? But we also learned a lot about how more advanced communication, ability to fight misinformation. I think one of the most interesting findings, Mike, see, you asked me to talk about research, and I'm going to fill up this whole 7 minutes. But I think one of the most interesting findings from this was that when asking folks who are out on the ground how they, see socially vulnerable groups in their communities, a number of people said, of course, like people that come from historically marginalized and disadvantaged communities fall into that category, but so do people who are prone to misinformation. So not knowing where to get, factual information. And that was a really big piece for us that I think was important and will inform our research moving forward as well. So I'll stop there, but thanks. And yeah, if anybody wants to talk to me about that too, I know if you were in backstage before when I thought no one could hear me, I said I'll add it to the list, but email me and I'm happy to add it to the list, but happy to talk about it. And Mike, I saw you just added the housing flyer there too, so that's a good one.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that PDF I just posted, that's not a virus. That is, you can safely click on that. So one of our graduates, well, if you don't know Lindsay Erickson, so she's an MPA grad. She's the Oshkosh deputy mayor. She's a public health professional. So she's also a Whitburn fellow right now. So she's working with us even as an MPA graduate. So really just an impressive individual. She is holding this event called the Northeast Wisconsin Housing Policy Institute, and it's Friday, April 12th and Saturday, April 13th. It's at UWO Fox Cities. We are one of the sponsors of this event, and we're going to have a table there. But you can read the flyer, but I know that housing is on everybody's mind right now. It seems to be coming up in every discussion of either the public or the nonprofit sector. And Lindsay, to her credit, is putting on this event focused on the state of housing and ways to reduce barriers to affordable housing in Northeast Wisconsin. So I do encourage anyone who's interested to look into that. It's free to attend, and it's going to be a fabulous event. All right. Any other? I could keep giving all kinds of plugs for Whitburn Center work that's coming out, but we got to save that for future webinars. Any questions or comments from anybody before we wrap this up?
I think maybe Michelle asked if we can post in the chat. I'm not sure if that was in reference to the housing PDF. And if so, Michelle, it is, Dr. Ford attached it up above.
Yeah, the housing's there. And then Michelle, Sam posted a link to the report she was discussing. All right, cool. She found it.
Sweet. All right.
Excellent.
Paul, any final words?
This has been great. And I think it just, it's an example of all kinds of collaboration and exciting new things that make us well, I keep saying the word exciting, but that's an apt word. Excited about the future of this this department and all the programs and new connections that we can make with people that are alums in of the MPA program and such, because we have students coming through like we've been talking about that that could be great future employees for y'all, whether they go on to get the MPA themselves or not. So yeah, thanks for putting it together, to my colleagues and for everyone that came, for being here.
No, thank you, everybody. And our next one of these is going to be April 17th at noon, from noon to 1 p.m. Virtual webinar just like this one. And our Masters of Public Admin graduate assistant and also new deputy clerk for Freedom, Wisconsin, Kayla Nespin. She's been doing some work on online delivery of higher ed. And she's doing that as part of her capstone, but she will be presenting this work, as it's certainly on our minds as a 100% online program that we're constantly trying to improve, and certainly seems to be the direction that some of our undergraduate programs are going on campus. So we're hoping that we can get a decent crowd for this one of people that are interested in hearing the latest and greatest research on online delivery of higher ed. We'll send information out closer to the dates, but for now, thank you everybody for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. And like I said, always happy to answer any questions any of us are about the sociology, FERM, public admin, or Whitburn Center. Thank you much.
Thanks, everybody.